I'm going to show you how to do a tubular cast on, and because for Chris's socks, because it's truly the stretchiest cast on, and it's so great for socks. Okay, so what I have here is just a massive piece of scrap yarn. This is worsted weight. It doesn't matter. It don't matter. And then I'm just gonna do a little slip knot right here, and then I just have a little crochet hook. This is one of those ones that's like meant for like picking up stitches that you drop. You just need a crochet hook. This is a 3mm. It doesn't matter. Use whatever you got. Okay, and then I put the slip knot on the crochet hook. And then I have my needle. This part does matter. You gotta use your size. What size is this? 2.25 needle. And then you're gonna cast on you're gonna cast on half plus 1 of the amount of stitches. So for Corey's socks, I need, I think 72. So I'm gonna cast on half that. So what? Yes. So I'm gonna cast on 36 stitches plus 1. So it would be 37 stitches that I'm gonna cast on. Okay. So I've already cast on one. So remember, the slip knot was on the crochet hook. I'm gonna wrap the yarn around the knitting needle, and then I'm just gonna pull through. I'm just gonna make a whole bunch of like, we're doing like a provisional cast on. Okay.
So you can see here, I'm just showing you what the provisional cast on looks like after doing 5 stitches.
Okay, so I have 37 stitches on here. And so for this last one, I'm not wrapping it around the knitting needle. I'm just gonna do like a little chain of just a chain of 37 stitches on this needle. Okay, and then this is just a chain of slip stitches, and then the slip stitch that I started with is over here.
Undergo an invasive surgical procedure to remove.
Okay, I've got my 37 stitches on here. Here's my end that I just did a slip stitch chain. I think that's what it's called. I'm not that good with crochet terms. So there's 37 stitches along here, and then here is the yarn that I'm gonna knit the cuff out of. So I'm gonna give myself a little bit of a tail. That's probably right there. And then I like to go to the end that I started on. So this is the very first slip stitch, and I'm gonna take another needle, and then I'm gonna purl all the way across. So we're just gonna purl these 37. Okay, so I've purled all the way across, and now we're gonna double the stitches because we're gonna knit one and then we're gonna make one purlwise all the way across. So it's better because as you can see, like, we're already taking up the entirety of this 6-inch DPN. So it's better if you have like a longer needle. When I purl across, I kind of like to leave them a little bit looser because then it's easier to do my purl ones. How do people make these videos? They probably have a better setup. Okay. And then I come around from the back, poke it up through. Purl it. Okay. And then I'm just going to do that all the way across until you get to the last 2 stitches. Because remember, you have 37 stitches, not 36. So we're going to purl the last 2 stitches together. Okay, so I've gotten to the point where I have this 1 stitch left. So I'm going to make one purlwise. So I put the yarn on the stitch, but I haven't purled yet. So now I'm going to purl these 2 together. I picked up the yarn in the middle as if to like make one purlwise, and now I'm just going to purl these 2 stitches together. So I've just moved all the stitches to
the 4 DPNs that I'm going to be using to knit in the round. So there's 18 stitches on each needle. I don't know how this happened, but I accidentally deleted the first round where you start knitting in the round. But you join in the round as normal, except you slip the knit stitches. So you're going to slip that first knit stitch and then with the yarn in the back, and then you're going to purl. Slip yarn in the back, purl. Just do that over. That's your first round. Okay, so we have the first row done. So you can see I've slipped all these knit stitches and I've purled all these other stitches, all the purl stitches. So now we're going to knit. I'm going to knit this one, and then we're going to slip with yarn in front the purl stitches. So knit, slip with the yarn in front, knit, slip with the yarn in front. The next round, you're going to do another round of purling the purl stitches, but slipping the knit stitches. Okay, so I have just finished 3 rows. So the first row was slip, purl, slip, purl. The second row was knit, slip, and then the third row was slip, purl, slip, purl. You can do that as many times as you want to because it's just double knitting. The more times that you do it, the more rounded top you have. I just do it 3 times because that's what I got told to do it the first time I ever did this. And I have done it 4 times. I don't think it looks that different. So from here, I'm just going to go knit, purl, one by one, ribbing like normal. And then when I learned to do this, the instructions said to wait until you've done at least an inch of ribbing before taking off the provisional cast on. And then you just like pull the slip knot out and then everything pulls out pretty easily. I have pulled it off sooner. It's fine. It's just better if you wait, I guess. Yeah, so that is how you do a tubular cast on. I think the best and worst part is that you only have to cast on originally half the amount of stitches, but the worst part is that you have to do all those make one purls. Okay, so I have done 3 rows of the slip, knit, and then knit, slip, or no. Okay, so I just went ahead and I loosened up the last stitch on the row of slip stitches of the waist yarn. That's the provisional cast on. It's black and my pajamas are back, so it's hard to see. And so I'm just going to start pulling that, and then I'll show you what it looks like once you start pulling this all off. I know this isn't quite an inch. It's more like a 1/4 of an inch, but we should be good. Do as I say, not as I do. So you can see that little loop there. That's the end of that slip stitch. So I'm just going to pull. I'm going to start pulling all these stitches. It's going to be a little bit tight because it's worsted instead of socks, but it'll be fine. But you can see how it just pulls out. Sometimes I just like to pull this because it just pulls the slip stitches out. See, and then I just keep pulling, keep gently like loosening up all the stitches. And eventually you just pull it all out from the other side. Like the toughest part of a sock is making sure that it fits over when it's like this, because you're really stretching out that cuff to try and get it over your heel. So when I usually like to have Corey try it on when it's a little bit thicker than probably an inch, and then I'll have him try it on and make sure that it fits over his foot like that. And it's nice and pretty and super, super duper stretchy. I love it. Love, love, love.